welcome. If you're joining us now, then hit your share button. I'm just going to wait for a few people to join us. And then I'm going to take us through series 2 of 4. So I'm just going to wait for some people to join. And we're going to go through how to generate money, some different options on that, and how you should treat money. So what money is, it's basically a transfer of energy, and most people don't get this. So if you're joining us now, hit your share buttons, share. Okay, last week we spoke into the mindset around money, and let me say this now, money does not happen by chance. You do not get money by chance. We're up to 50. Come on, keep sharing. Tell me where you're from. Darlow, Sunderland, Jarrow. So money doesn't happen by chance, guys. You can make all the excuses in the world that it was your parents, where you live, it's the government, it's COVID, it's the competition, and the whole lot is fucking bullshit. It's about how you interact with money and that flow of energy. So we're going to be talking into that. So, something I want to talk into, first of all, is my current project. In fact, I'm going to flip this on its head, because I've had 2 messages today of people saying the same thing. So 2 people have sent me messages, and they said practically the same thing. That I watched you live last week, I thought it was great, I took stuff away from it, but the big fucking but came. And the but was, I don't have any money. So, is there any point me watching the rest of the series? Guys, to say you don't have money is the fucking most feeble excuse that I've ever heard in my life. That's basically saying that if you've got no money, that there's no way around it, which is absolutely bullshit. There's a reason why I'm stood here. There's a reason why on this live, people are joining in from Wales, Scotland, Belfast, London, Sunderland, all over the country. And that's because I'm teaching things that most people don't know. Most people aren't aware of it. So most people have these bullshit limiting beliefs that if you've got no money, that you can't start in property. It's absolutely bullshit. I've got at least 10 strategies that I teach that get around the thing of having no money. So I'm going to flip it on its head, actually, and I'm going to talk into this particular project that I'm doing now. So this development that I'm sat in right now, that I've recently been doing, or recently for the last 2.5 years, and this is how I structured this particular deal, and this is how you can structure something, even at 2.7 million. So this building's been valued at 2.7 million. Let me show you how I've done it. So the building was up for, originally got an offer of around about £1 million. It dropped to 750 grand. It then dropped to 500. It dropped to 300 grand. At that point, I came in, I put an offer in of £200,000, and that was accepted. So 200k. So I had this building accepted at 200k. I then put an option on the property. So for 10k, I put an option on the property. What that basically means was, I said to the vendor, which is the seller, that I will give you £200,000 for this building on condition, so it's a conditional sale, on condition that I can get planning permission to develop. And in that option, I put down £10,000. So I put down £10,000. Once the 10,000 goes down, it goes into a contract, it's legally binding. It means the seller cannot pull out at this point. So I then go get planning permission on the development. So I go get planning on this development. And as soon as the planning was accepted, the value of this building £675,000. So it's gone up from 200 grand to 675,000, and I've done no building works at this point. But the only thing that I've done is I've got planning permission. The only thing I've done is put in this 10 grand here. So the way that we can do it off a large project like this, and I'm going to show you how to reverse engineer it, because I know that some of you will be going, haven't fucking got 10 grand. I'll show you how to get that as well. So I've agreed it for 200 grand. It's on an option agreement that as long as I get planning, then I go ahead with the sale. I've put this 10 grand down. If I pull out, I lose my 10 grand. But at no point can the seller pull out the deal. They're legally binding, it's tied in. So I've got planning permission accepted on the building. The building's gone up to 675,000. Now the way that I do it is I can now lend against the market value, not the purchase price. So we have two things. Can you see my board that low? So we have MV, market value, and we have PP, purchase price. So purchase price was 200 grand, market value is 675,000. I can now loan against this money here. So bridging company give me 70% of the market value. So if they were to give me 70% of this, it's going to give me roughly, let's just say for ease of maths, 450k. So they'll give me roughly 450k. So what I do now is they release that money to me. I've paid 10 grand already, so I only have to pay a further 190 grand to buy the actual development. I pay 190 grand and that buys this whole property. I then have in the region of 250 grand to do works on the development. So I put my 250 grand in, I develop an area of it, it uplifts the value, so the market value jumps up. So if I put another 250 grand in, this should jump up at least 300 grand if I've put 250 in. And then I just relend, I lend again against the increase of the value. And we just keep doing that, rinse and repeat. That's how I structured this particular deal. Now, some of you might say, well, I don't have 10 grand to start with. So right now, in the banks, you're getting, I think it's 0.25%. So if someone was getting 1%, they would be getting, off 10 grand, £100 per year in interest if it was 1%. But it's not. It's 0.25, which means they're getting 25 quid. A fucking measly 25 quid. 25 quid is not going to fucking feed your kids steak and champagne. It's going to give them my mum's fucking baked beans and mouldy bread. It's going to do nothing for you at all. So, if you said to an investor, I'll give you 10%, so instead of them getting 25 quid a year, you give them 10% on their 10 grand, they'd be making £1,000. So instead of making 25 quid for the whole year, they'd make £1,000. So you could borrow that. There's loads of people right now that have got money sat in the bank, and this is exactly what I teach on my training of how to find people who will invest with you. So I demonstrate how to find investors, how to approach them, how to put a pack together, and how to position that to them so that they want to buy from you. So I teach people how to stack a deal, and once the deal stacks, people will buy into it. So There's another limiting belief that people will only invest in you if you've got experience in property, and it's absolutely bullshit. So on my 3-day training, there's an example that I do in the room. And I say to the guys, I'm stood on this stage that I'm on right now, and I'll look out to all these tables, and I say, right, get your fucking phones out, I'm going to take you out your comfort zone. And I get them to write a post on their Facebook walls, and I give them a very specific message to send out. And in the room, people get investment off investors, even though they haven't even finished the training. So they've got no property, no experience, and they go and get investors. And that's because people will buy into you for a couple of reasons. One, if they know and trust you. So on your Facebook right now, if you've got, say, 1,000 friends, there'll be a proportion at the bottom of that who don't like you. They just follow you because they're nosy fuckers. There'll be a chunk in the middle, probably 60%, who are acquaintances, people that you kind of speak to. And then you'll have your top 20% who are probably your friends, people who you can rely on, people you can trust, people who've got your back. And in that proportion there'll be people who trust you with their life. There'll be a proportion of those people that are willing to invest with you. They know who you are, and if you put something out like that, they go, yeah, I know that person, I went to school with them, or I work with them, good honest person, and I'm happy to put some money in with them. So so there we go. Ethan's just said, on this example, I was personally offered over 20 grand in investment capital within the day. So Ethan was on the last training, and he done that in the room, and he was offered 20 grand there and then in the room. So once we put that out, we can get investment. So people will buy into you if they trust you, and they'll buy into you if the deal stacks. It doesn't matter if you've got property experience, how many properties you've got, and all of that doesn't matter. They just need to trust you, and they need to know, does the deal stack? Simple as that. And your top sort of 10% people who trust you and I'll have you back, they're probably not even bothered at looking at a deal. So the likes of Ethan there, he's put out that post without even saying what a deal was, and people straight away said, I'll buy into that. And that's because they're buying into you. So my advice to you guys is play to your strengths. We all have people that follow us, we all have people that like us, and we have people in line with our values. If someone's in line with your values, they'll buy into you, they'll trust you, they'll come on board. So this is one of the things that I teach on the training. I teach people how to find investors. So if money's your one of your hurdles, how we get around that, how to find investors, how to get them to buy into you, how to stack a deal, and how to present that to them. So that was one deal that that's my current deal, and you can see how I can structure a £2.7 million project without using any money at all. All I need is that 10 grand there. Now, you might say, well, do you need money for the planning of your architect and stuff like that? So there's another way around that. You could have an agreement with your architect where, let's say, he wants 2 grand, 5 grand, whatever it is for the drawings, and you could say, can we have a deal where, based off the back of me getting planning accepted, instead of paying you the 2 grand you want, I'll pay you 3 grand once I release this money here. Now, if your architect knows what they're doing, and your architect's done the homework, and they've spoke with the local planning authority, and they're confident they'll get the planning through, then there's no reason why they won't go through that. There's no reasons why they won't go for that if they're confident in what they're doing. So get your architect to put the balls on the line. Say to your architect, if you're confident that you're good enough, that you know what you're doing, you can get these drawings accepted, I'll give you 3 grand off the back end. Now, having a relationship with your architect and your tradesman is really important because it allows you to do things like that. So that's one way how you can do it. So for those that ask the questions of, but yeah, I've got no money, All you need to do is learn how to find somebody who's got money. There's the jigsaw, that's it. It's as simple as that. So that's just one strategy that I teach. There's other things like bridging finance, deferred consideration, there's assisted sales. These are a number of different ways that we can go into property without any money at all. Deal sourcing. There's a number of ways that we can start in property, and you don't need any cash at all. All you need is the knowledge of how to implement effective contracts, where to find investors, how to find properties, where to find them below market value, how to stack a deal, and how to present it. And that's the reason why I've had thousands of people that I've trained, and they're able to go out there and they're making hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, and they've done it, some of them have done it from not only having zero money, but they've done it from being in debt. So they've come to me and they've been £20,000+ in debt, and they've gone from that to having multi-million-pound portfolios by using these strategies. Something else I want to talk into is I want to talk into you utilising your money better. So, one thing you've got to understand with money, we all know how to work for money. Even from the back in the days, I think the first ever profession ever was prostitution. And we learn as humans that I can exchange something in order for money. So women, or maybe as fit blokes, used to exchange their bodies for cash. And we've all learned how to do that. We all know how to go sweep a street up, or do a bit of labouring, or whatever it is, and get some cash the other way. But very few people know how to make money work for them. So people know how to work for money, but they don't know how to make money work for them. So, another example. I taught my daughter a lesson. I teach this on my 3-day training, so people who've done my training will know this. So I'm just going to rattle through this quickly. So I bought my daughter a garage for £2,200, and I bought it cash. I bought her it for her 10th birthday. That garage produces £60 per calendar month, which is £720 per annum. So for 2,200, I bought my daughter a garage, just a brick garage. It was for her 10th birthday, and the lesson was the importance of having assets that give you reoccurring income. So if you go and if you're a director of a business, and let's say you turn over 250 grand a year, for ease of maths, each year you have to do the same amount of activity for 250 grand a year, roughly. If you are doing an activity where you've got a job, for example, you're doing an activity and you've got an income coming in for that particular job. If you've got, if you're buying and selling something, for example, again, there's a specific activity for a return of cash, but you've got to repeat that over and over and over again in order to receive that cash. So for me, for example, let's say I was paid £10,000 for running a training course, and I did 3 a year. So I got £10,000 3 times a year, 30 grand. The next year, I've got to do 3 training courses at 10 people at £1,000 to get exactly the same amount of money. So I'm having to repeat that. So if I don't repeat that the next year, I don't make that 30 grand, it's gone. So it basically means I've got to repeat that activity in order to earn a certain amount of money. However, when you've got assets, they're there forever, and their reoccurring income comes off the back of them. So this garage, bought it cash, 2,200, it produces 720 quid a year. If my daughter keeps that garage for 50 years, it'll produce in the region of £35,000. That's without any rental increases at all. And you might say, well, it may need some repairs. It's got a concrete roof, probably last 100 years. It might need a new garage door every 10, 15, 20 years. £2,000 in, £35,000 out, and she can then hand that over to her kids. So the money just keeps coming in and in and in. So this is the thing about building assets that give you reoccurring income. In the process of hopefully getting 70k out of my previous employer's pension scheme. Good. If you put that into assets, Brian, then we can use it wisely. Let's have a look. Any questions? Mark McLeod, is that 120 grand you've been offered? Ethan, he also has contacts with others who are looking to invest, which by word of mouth has given us contacts from people we have never met. Yeah, so word spread, guys. Word spreads. So the more that you get yourself out there, the more that it spreads. So these are the kind of things that I'm teaching on my training. I teach stuff like this on my 3-day advanced training. On elite training, I'm teaching at a higher level, so it's more around creative contracts, how to structure no money down deals in terms of deferred consideration, assisted sales, looking at option agreements, so all of the creative type of stuff that I do with contracts. And if you understand how to write a contract, or not you personally, but your solicitor, then you can structure a deal without using any money at all.